Greetings and welcome to Matrix Revealed Presentation 19. 1 and 9 is 10. Where do we start? It's funny, I put this phone on and it was 1:44 when the light came up on the screen and there was form given to the darkness. It's all coming out. It's incredible. I don't even know where to start. A couple of you have asked me today, have I missed any videos? Well, no. What's happened is I went on a 3-day fast and I got about 2.5 days into it, and it all came out as detoxing, so it feels very much like a cold. And I've just been, well, just not really doing anything. I've done the onion on the foot. I haven't done the mustard on the chest. That's good as well for drawing out the virus. So I'm going to give you some health tips from things I've done that do work as well as we go. This is going to be all over the place because we're going to set sail with these vessels, but we're not doing it the Phoenician way. We're going to be the opposite. We're going to be the S. We're still going to weave one side to the other. It's all about sails with boats, after all, and Admiralty law. Yeah, so consequently, I've got up tonight. I've had toothache. Now I've got choices here, haven't I? I can go to a dentist and I can have something to numb the gum and have the tooth pulled out, pay a lot of money for it, not know what's in the injection. Or I can treat this as a learning curve, no pain, no gain. And what I've found is it gets to a point where it's that feeling of like red hot needles right down the bottom of the jaw, because of the tree roots. The tooth roots go right down in the gum, but when it gets to a certain point, and then it goes beyond that, where it seems to work as a natural anaesthetic. So I'm able to wiggle the tooth and lever it backwards and forwards and start loosening it off, and it's been, as toothache goes, it's actually been quite bearable most of the time. It just, in the evening, it seems to sort of flare up a bit. But now a lot of you have said about clove oil, which yes does work. But I've been like ramming in cinnamon powder because when you've got something like this, your mouth is making lots of saliva anyway, so that helps dry that out a bit. And it does take the pain right down. I won't do it now because I'll probably be spitting sort of brown colour snowballs at you, as it were. So I can stand this anyway. It's not really a problem. Now there is a topic I want to talk about a particular angel, and I'll get to that in a minute. I can't even keep up with the downloads that have been coming. While I think of it, brilliant premiere tonight by Martin Liedker, and Lee, Flat Earth British, made a wonderful vlog yesterday talking about these church machines and the architecture of all of this. And it is an arc. I don't want to go too much into this. There's a lot more to uncover. You've got to dig deep, quite possibly in many senses. I think Lee's right. We're looking at something that functions very much like a tree, where there is as above, so below. There's probably as much going on below. It's still probably operative with the magnetic energies of Earth. They've got these so-called earthing straps on the towers, allegedly for lightning, but as you know, lightning goes up and then arcs back anyway, so it's coming from the ground. So they're probably still harnessing it and using it in a different way for that's self-serving. Now there's two types of self-serving. There's like self-serving you get in checkouts, where you're not using a cashier and you're doing it all yourself, and you're doing a lot of work, doing somebody out of a job, and you are being self-serving. I mean, if you want to take it to the ultimate extreme, you can become a politician or an actor or an actress in Hollywood. But the price of fame and fortune. Remember, this is about your soul. It's not about the material world. So I suggest the fame is famine, and I suggest the fortune is just that. It's the wrong tune completely because it's not a core of us. It's not a chorus. They're singing from the wrong song sheet. It's probably why you've got this distorted harmony. I mean, don't forget you've also got the pitch in music, the pitch of the ruse. It's all about sound vibration. So what are these church machines? Everybody's asking this. Well, I think you just got to look at what the Christian or Anglican churches say. Come into the church, and the only way to Jesus is to join that religion to find everlasting life. Well, I think there's the clue right there. They are healing devices to extend your life. And I think what we're seeing here is a repeat pattern. You can take the Garden of Eden analogy of you listen to the snake and you take a bite of the apple and you've got knowledge. You were told you could do anything. You could even go in that area of this garden as long as you didn't eat the fruit from that tree of knowledge, because what, you now think you're better than this creator and you can make a better job of it. Yeah, you got knowledge and made a pretty piss poor attempt of it, I think. There's so many ways I can go with this. This is the trouble. It's a job to know which bit to talk about next. I don't want to make it too long, but there again, there is a lot to say, and hopefully I'm going to give you a lot of gems along the way. Because we've hit rock bottom, so I might as well give you gems. These are metaphorical ones, of course. As Jamie on A Plain Truth for You has showed you, diamonds are forever is another huge scam. It's scarcity. It is a scarce or a scare city. It's all to create attention on the mind, get your attention and cause attention. That's why you have fishermen, the fisher of man, and that's what all to do with the Pisces, the two fish looking in opposing directions as well. Well, that age is gone. Forget it. You've got to move with the times, you know. And it's on what have you got on a fishing rod? Well, it's a rod. We could use it as an arcing rod instead, I would suggest, but it's got a line on it because we're in a linear time. Magnetic is the vertical. It's perfect and everlasting. Linear is the timeline, the sound wave on the heart monitor and so on, the path of the sun. There's something I've suggested. Now you can go with this, or you've got your own ideas. It doesn't matter. Now the sun and the moon. This all could be working. That there is a reflective dome, regardless of what it's made of, whether it be glass, irrelevant. And it's like a baby's mobile, and it's like the start of those 20th century Fox films, I think, with the two searchlights representing the sun and the moon, and it's just like electricity. What you're actually seeing is not something solid or an exploded star. You're just seeing the interaction when that magnetic energy comes into contact with the ether. Now today I noticed the sun is 50 minutes slow in the sky. Now I was watching Conspiracies Are Us, and UAP channel has covered this, and also A Plain Truth for You about these amusement parks. Now if you look at things like those chair swings, you've got a central pole and everything's going round it. So maybe there's another way of looking at it. Maybe the sun and the moon are magnetically connected to this pole, and they're starting to slow up because they've been wound up so much. They are now running down and heading towards a reset. This neatly brings me on to another point here. There's been a call out on quite a big channel. I'm not going to mention names. All I will say is stand back, look at the bigger picture. I think it is right to say, hey, look, I think you got this slightly wrong, regardless of how big the channel is, to actually say, look, I think this is wrong because, and give your reasons why you think that's wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not divide and conquer. That's keeping us on the straight and narrow, because it is a tightrope on this spiritual path. A lot will fall along the way. Look at it that you're helping them to get through next time round instead, rather than this time. Or maybe you better help them and get them through this as well. That's something else worth considering with all of this. Because we all need help now and again. We can't. No man is an island. We are, and I say man in the collective term, representing men and women. Because hopefully by now you know that we've all got the masculine and the feminine, the male ego and the divine feminine, the two hemispheres. It's hemmed in fear in this reality. That's what fear feeds on, fear. So even if it's controlled opposition, there's no point even calling out names really, unless you've got a very good reason to say so, because there are always people who are going to side one way or the other. And I must say as well, there's two things that you need to watch with Tartaria and mud floods. So far it does not seem to have happened, and that is the divisive element, the controlled opposition, that will tell half of it but then try and steer it in a way that's going to get people arguing and taking sides, and that's what we want to avoid. Regardless of what was, what wasn't, all we really need to take out of the Tartaria thing, apart from the reverse engineering and looking at the past to see what was done before with resets and how to change that, but also to take this idea of this utopia and actually bring that into being. Now, all this negativity, you got to think with all these posts, when you see something about a particular animal has gone extinct, how does that actually make you feel? Is that bringing down your vibration? Because how do you know that they've gone extinct? I mean, I'll give you one example, the Tasmanian wolf. There's been numerous sightings. Okay, some of them may or may not be just people trying to get their 15 minutes of fame. Maybe this animal is in such small numbers and has learnt to adapt to become even more elusive. I mean, let's face it, over the centuries we've had the beast of Bodmin Moor and all the what they call mythological stories about black cats that may have escaped from a zoo and are surviving in the wild, and you don't see them except in the harshest winters when they get more desperate and more hungry. I mean, I get muntjac deer. Muntjac deer come in the garden in the winter time, and they have come quite close to the house. They're amazing to see, but you take your eyes off for 1 second, they blend in so well, and yet they're there. Foxes are another example of having dens in urban areas, but who knows where they are, but they are there. So ignore all the fear. There is only one ultimate fear, and I can give you a personal testimony on this. You've all done it once, even if you don't remember it. I've done it twice. The death experience. I've been through it, so I don't have a fear of it. I've over several of these videos I've said, come on MI6 or CIA, come and get me, because they know as well as I do that that final barrier, that fear of death, if you don't have that and you have no fear, because think of it like you are on that tight rope, and it's a trap ease when you just take that leap of faith and you know that something's going to catch you. You're not going to fall any further. This is all metaphorical. I'm not saying go up on a tightrope and actually try this. But you notice as well, you've got the pole for balance. See, that's a horizontal pole now. So there's always a duality with all these things. There's a yes and no to everything. So yeah, that's the two bits we need to take out of Tartaria. And Tartaria, it's an art. It was 12. Now think about, I think it's Black Sheep Researcher has shown this. Before it was the 12, shall we say, kingdoms that formed the greater Tartarian Empire. there was a thing called Scythia, an empire. Now, look how close that word is to the word scythe. And remember also, Satan is the protector of the corn and the wheat, the golden harvest. When you bring in your yield, your crops that you've worked for, you've paid in advance by doing all the work, and now you reap the benefits from it. Because it's not a grim reaper. I mean, you can go for a walk with him. He doesn't have any power over me. They can go like that all he wants and just tell him to shoo. He can go and loose elsewhere. They get fed up, the same as all these clones in this reality. Now, just to clarify, what is a clone? Now, what happens is when you are birthed, and you'll find this is written into law, that when something is manifested, when it is birthed, that whole, the goods, the chattel, the cattle, which we are regarded as, including all the packaging, is not to be interfered with, and yet they cut the umbilical cord. At that point, you die. Then you're reanimated. So you've already been through the death thing. I did it later in life. I was in hospital because I tried to take an overdose, and they're very good. They don't put needles in your arm. They put this needle thing in with an attachment, and then there's a connection, and then this other thing goes in, and if the tap's open, the blood just pours out, and oh, what a feeling of bliss. It really was. And I can't say there was a white light at the end of the tunnel. It was just an absolute feeling of total calm and going somewhere. That's the best way I can describe that. And this is a personal experience I've been through. So don't give in to the fear of that. That's an illusion. Now, yeah, we could be in a projection in 2 days, a subconscious, which is most people we dreams. There's the conscious, and we can make dreams come true. It's irrelevant as to whether we are projections or whether we're really here in 2 states or 2 days, 2 states of consciousness. Certainly not going to fall out with people over this, because I don't know if I'm absolutely 100% right. We just keep asking questions with all this. That's the thing. We just got to stay on that straight and narrow path, and together we're stronger. Comment I made earlier about fasces, and the word fascist is about binding. And if you look at these fasces, they resemble the pillars as well, with the rods all bound round what looks like an axe head. It's some sort of active charge weapon. But where else are we going? All over the place with this one, I'm afraid. But it does all come in together. So as far as this channel is concerned, I'm not really going to bring any more mentions of the negative fear porn aspects of things, unless it is in some way I can use it to show what it really is. I'll give you another example. You have these awful places. Well, actually, let's go back before that. Let's get to the food, right? You've got the processed food. Now, you'll have on the packaging, you'll see it says serves 1 or serves 6 or whatever. It's all little codes all the way through. And they're quite small portions, but if you go out to eat at especially the budget end of these carveries, sometimes at certain days you get 2 for 1. Well, is that killing 2 birds with 1 stone? Because do you know where that meat is sourced from? And you can guarantee it's going to be pumped up full of water for profit, and probably given lots of things to give it artificial flavours, same with all the vegetables. And if you want to see the perfect example of greed, just go in one of these places and look how much people put on their plates, and you know damn well they're not going to eat it all. They just think they're getting one up on somewhere where they've maybe paid £10 for, but they're going to get £20 worth of food on that plate, and probably have a dessert, and they will get their just desserts, because that's why they're so obese, because they're just damn greedy. They don't know when to stop physically. That's why you've got so many men that look like they're about to give birth. I mean, that's quite what the dark side seems to be working towards, and why not feed into that and feed the shit that they want you to eat and consume, because you'll become a consumer then anyway, as opposed to a Sumerian. And a Suma is in summer, it's in light. It's when the the life giver, the sunlight, is at its strongest. It is at its high point. It's all downhill from there on, but that's what it just keeps doing it round and round again. So I suppose, really, I should say a very happy win tar sol tis us. Because, like I said, it doesn't matter what the rights or wrongs of what Tataria is. I mean, maybe it might be all the wrong way round. It would be the sort of typical twist that they would do and tell you it's Tatarians and it's actually Phoenicians that are good guys, but they twist it round and use the name and apply the opposite labels, because who knows, who cares? The important thing is to take out this whole collective idea, and our collective consciousness will create this anyway. We're far more powerful than we're told we are. The heart is the most powerful energy there is. You just need to get to the heart of the matter, and what are we? We're in matter in this 3D reality. But anyway, I've digressed. So clones. The umbilical cord is cut. That spirit says, I'm not staying around here. So yeah, we are the crazy ones for going through this, but somebody's got to do it. And it pays huge dividends when you pay in advance like this, and you right, DC-AHK channel shows you the sign, the charistus. It's basically what all sports stars do when they win. The boxer goes, yay! And football stars, when they score a goal, they all put their arms up in the air. It's forming like that trident, because you're a 3. Which now brings me into the actual download that I got, which was actually supposed to be 21 minutes later, is the topic of this. So the composer, Joseph Anton Bruckner, better known just as Anton Bruckner. I've suggested in a previous one that the second Messiah was Richard Wagner. This guy is a contemporary of him and the complete opposite. He is described as being something of a simpleton, a country bumpkin. The man and the music are poles apart. But I'm not going to go into the whole history of him, there's no point. But what I did notice was he was born on the 4th of September 1812, died on the 11th of October 1896, so 4 September's 7, not 9. So 4 and 7 is 11. 18 makes 9, and 2, 11, and 4 is 15, that's a 6. 11th of October, so you've got 11 and a 10, 18, that makes 9, and 9, that's 18, 24, so there's 2 6s there for a start. Because remember, everything is duality. You've got 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, you're all 666s anyway. It's all within. Every story, every film is an aspect of a singular story. There's so much with all of this that all interconnects. I don't need to reiterate. I will bring it into other presentations, but I'm going to refer you over to Charlie on Freak Sense TV channel, or Santos Bonacci. You do need to understand and do the inner work. Your physiology and how the Bible actually relates to that, and how the astrology comes into it. It's the synchronicity, the whole science. It is very important, because it will also give you huge clues with this whole thing about these church machines and Tataria, because it's wheels within wheels, the flower of life. We replicate the earth. We have a aura, or a torus field, same as the earth, also known as a dome. You've got a dome, you've got a Sarah Abraham, a cerebellum, and a claustrum, which sends the gifts, the presents down to the solar plexus, your gut feeling, your God feeling. I don't need to go over any more of that, but I can, if requested, I will do a brief video on that. But anyway, Anton Bruckner, now best known for writing 9 symphonies. Now I would say, actually before I even get to that, how did I find him? I was in the public library years ago and thought, oh, like the look of this album cover. Interestingly, the conductor was Raphael Kubelik. Um, I'm sure some of you with the etymology are going to be able to make something out of that. I mean, you've got cube in there as well, and Raphael. Um, and with the Wiener Philharmonica, well, are they filling the harmony with a wrong pitch, like they've done with what is the orchestra tuned to? Are they playing at the wrong pitch? Because European orchestras, UK orchestras, and American orchestras are all tuned to different pitches anyway, or used to be. But Vienna, VI, or a W. Well, a W is an 8 cut in half, double U. Your 2 caduceus, that's both of you, and your double Lord, which you are as well, which is the other half of the infinite as well. So 9 symphonies. So straight away you've got the solid world. Everything is between 1 and 9 in his 3 dimensions. There were 2 what were he classed as study symphonies, now known as Symphony 0 di Nolta, and the study symphony, the double 0. So you could take the double 0 to mean the respective parts of his parents, the fertilization. The 0 represents the fetal stage, the embryonic stage of the music, where he found his voice later in life. And then the 9 symphonies, roughly about 7 or 8 years. And it's telling you 3 things in these symphonies, because there is not ever been another composer. Yeah, this is only my opinion, but this is the downloads I'm getting. There is not another composer who is more broad-reaching and all-encompassing and so visionary in what this sound in these symphonies is telling